Well, it's Soup Sunday, and today we're going to make my world famous loaded baked potato soup.
First things first is we want to grease these potatoes up like they're going to a Diddy party. You can use whatever oil you want to use. I use olive oil. I would not recommend baby oil. That's not really conducive to food. But put a little pink Himalayan sea salt on top or kosher salt. And then we're going to throw them in the oven like we're making a baked potato because that is kind of the foundation of this soup we're making here. Then let's go ahead and cut up some celery. A little small dice on the celery. I didn't have a lot left. I bought a big bag of celery earlier this week, and I used most of it. So all that's left is the little shitty pieces. But, this is what we got. So I'm going to take this cutting board, and we're going to dump it into this little container right through the glory hole so we can make a mess. Yeah. The old messy cutting board glory hole there. Yeah, okay. Get it in there. Come on. Come on. You got the motor skills. Now, as with any soup that's worth its salt, we're going to go ahead and dice up some onions because onions are key to soup making. You can't have soup without onions, so you want plenty of those. Honestly, I probably should have done more here because these are tiny little onions, but you live, you learn. And we're going to dump it onto this little paper plate. That's a little kitchen hack I like to use because I don't like to wash dishes, but I like to have my mise en place together. Then we're going to take a pack of bacon, a whole pack of bacon, preferably the thick cut variety. And I like to just leave them shingled here. And I like to go down and just slice those little slices of bacon, thin little elongated strips of bacon that we're going to fry up. Look how beautiful that is. Look at that. That's a beautiful sight. Look at me cutting those. Look at those. Okay. All right. Now let's check our potatoes. Now they're in a 400-degree oven. They should be going for a while now. You want those to bake at least an hour. And we got our mise en place. We got our celery, our onions, our bacon. That concludes most of the cutting we're going to do today. Now get your big soup pot out and get it roaring hot. And we want to take our diced bacon here and put it into our pot and let that fat render on down. You want to really sweat that fat out like a couple obese people in a hotel sauna. Yeah. Look at all that sweat dripping out. Yeah, it's dripping down their backs, up under their man titties. Ooh, when she gets up, there's going to be a sweat stain on that bench. Yeah, okay, let's back to the bacon. Anyway, we're rendering the bacon out. It's getting nice and happy. And once we get the fat rendered and we get it all nice and crispy, we're going to take it and we're going to scoop it out. Leave the juice in there, the fat, the grease. That's valuable. We need that. We need that for the soup. We're going to set the bacon aside. All right, now we're going to take our celery and our onions, and we're going to put it in our pan. And we're going to take some butter, whole stick of butter, and we're going to cook it in our fat, our butter, our celery, our onions. Now, while the aromatics are cooking, let's go ahead and go in there with some garlic. Normally, I like to get like a head of garlic and just chop it up, but today we're using the jar minced garlic. I am very sorry for my culinary sins. Then we're going to add a little bit of parsley, for some pizzazz. And then we're going to go in with some black pepper to taste. Now, I do everything sort of to taste, so I will adjust this later. Once we have that cooked down real nice, let's thicken it. Let's add a little bit of all-purpose flour. See how that gets us. Make us a little bit of a roux sort of situation here. You know what? I think it probably needs a little more flour to get the, there we go. Add a little bit more, buddy. That other hand. There we go. So we're getting it all nice and thick. You want a nice, thick, creamy potato soup. Yeah. So here's what we do next. We're going to take some white wine and we're going to deglaze that fucking pan. Yeah. Hell yeah. All right, get those brown bits off the bottom there. All that flavor. Now we're going to take a little chicken broth. Get some more of that flavor off the bottom of the pot there. There we go. Yeah. Now stir it up. Yeah, you got it, buddy. Yeah. Add more chicken broth. Yeah. See how creamy that's looking? Oh, yes. Okay. I don't know why I'm hard right now. Anyways, add a little more chicken broth. Get it that extra way, that liquid component of the soup, which is so important. Now get your potatoes out and dice those up. Doesn't have to be perfect. You can actually leave the skins on. Adds more flavor to it. But dice those up. I used to work in a restaurant one time that They used to take their baked potatoes at the end of the night and they would cut them up like this, and then they would add like butter and Parmesan cheese, and they would call them smashed potatoes, and they would serve that as a side item. Well, I got fired from that job because I accidentally served the owner some smashed potatoes that had gone bad. But worse things were happening at that job. They had this one guy that was a regular there, and he would hang out by the dumpster and just do lines of cocaine, and he'd suck your dick for coke. Apparently, that's what people told me. And the funny thing is that sometimes he would offer you coke in exchange for you letting him suck your dick, which is wild. Kind of not really much of a quid pro quo situation there, or a business transaction, as it was just love of the game. I think the guy just loved giving mouth hugs and snorting booger sugar. Anyway, so we had our potatoes and our chicken broth to the soup. I think the chicken broth's got having a little bit of prostate problems there. Look at it, it's just trickling out. Come on, you got it, man. Shake it 3 times. But to finish up the story, that guy was there like every night, just hanging out at that bar, and said on his Facebook that he was bisexual, but I never saw him head first in any coochie back there for the old booger sugar, so do with that what you will. We're going to add some chopped chives that I found in the cabinet, little white pepper, little parsley, and we're going to add some sour cream, because sour cream goes in baked potatoes, and we're trying to get that baked potato flavor, so we're going to put about a cup of sour cream in the soup, and we're going to add a little bit later for a garnish. Go ahead and get everything all nice and incorporated. And then you know what? Let's get wild. Let's add some hot sauce. A little Cholula, a few dashes of hot sauce makes everything taste nice, and it makes up for some of my Caucasianness. And then let's dump some of that bacon bits back in there, about half of them, 3/4 of them. Leave a little bit on the side for a garnish. And then we're going to put a little cream in that coffee, a little cream in there, some of that thick titty milk. Yeah. That makes a cream soup. A cream soup is adding the cream. And we're going to taste it. Taste it a little bit, Ben. See how it is. See how it coats the back of the spoon? I mean, it's getting all nice and thick like you want it. All right, yeah, that's pretty good. But we need to make some changes here. Okay, little Cajun seasoning, little Tony Chachere's all-purpose. And it didn't have enough onion, so I went with a few little dried, granulated, minced onion there to give it a little more extra onion flavor. We're going to stir it in a little bit and add salt. Always be adding some salt, taste, and recalibrate. Add some more chives and parsley. And then we're going to take some cheddar cheese. A whole handful of cheddar cheese, man. Yeah, a couple handfuls. You don't want it to be too cheesy, but you definitely want it to be cheesy nonetheless. And we stir that up. And we taste it again. See what's happening in there. Oh, seems pretty good to me. Maybe a little more salt. Yeah, that's probably all it needs. Okay. Maybe a little Tony's. Okay, I see what you're doing there, buddy. Okay. And then stir it back up again. Always adjust your flavor. Taste. Does it taste right? Adjust. And that's our finished soup. That's our soup. And what we're going to do now is we're going to garnish it. We're going to put a little cheddar cheese on top. We're going to take a little dab of sour cream. I'm going to use a little tiny little teaspoon just to make it look fun and small. You know, there we go. Not to overpower the soup. And how about some bacon bits on top? How about a little bacon bits on top? A little extra crispiness. A little textural sensation. And that's how you make my loaded baked potato soup. Make it sometime. It's delicious in the winter.